tout le monde, I'm Sarah, and if you're new here, I make videos about travel, lifestyle, and sometimes, like today, videos that are connected to the LGBTQ community. So, as you can tell from the title of this video, we're going to be talking about Happiest Season. If you don't know what Happiest Season is, it is a gay Christmas rom-com that is coming this year starring Kristen Stewart and Mackenzie Davis. The first official trailer just dropped a couple of days ago, and I am very, very excited for it, which is why I wanted to make this video. Now, this is not going to be a first impression or reaction to the trailer itself. If you haven't seen that yet, I will leave the link in the description box below so you can check it out first. But after you've watched it, and if you clicked on this video, I'm guessing you probably have already watched it. Instead, I thought it would be fun to look at the things we're very excited for this movie, as well as a couple things that we're not so excited for. So let me start with some of the things we are super excited about. And when I say we, I'm talking about me personally first and foremost, but also a couple of things I've seen people muse about on social media. So the first thing is it stars Kristen Stewart, which, you know, she has a bit of a love-hate in the movie world, I feel like, but for fans of hers, we're really, really excited to see her in this kind of role, especially because I don't think we're used to seeing her in this kind of happy, maybe not happy-go-lucky, we don't really know what her character is like yet, but I don't know, it just is like a really cute role for her. Not that all of her movies are moody, but obviously the Twilight series and some of her more like critically acclaimed indie films, I feel like she plays a lot of moody roles, and so this is just kind of a little bit of a different beaten path for her, which I'm very excited to see her in. She is not the only familiar face in the movie either. There are a few other characters that I'm sure people got excited about seeing in the trailer, including Schitt's Creek's Dan Levy. I'm holding my phone here so I don't forget anybody. Aubrey Plaza, Allison Brie, Victor Garber, and a few others that you might recognize from the trailer, but those are just to name a few actors and actresses that I know probably caught people's eye in the trailer. So just like a lot of familiar faces, feels very similar to a traditional non-queer Christmas movie where we see a lot of actors and actresses we know and we get excited for it. So yeah, just really nice to see that kind of star power in a queer movie. And now moving on to kind of the next point, not only are we excited for the star power in the movie, but we're also excited that there is some queer representation in the star power of this movie. So thankfully the lead roles are not played by straight actors. Obviously we have Kristen Stewart playing one of the lead girlfriends. The other lead is Mackenzie Davis, who I'm not super familiar with, but from the reaction that I've seen online, I was seeing people say that she is queer, potentially bisexual, so I'm not 100% sure on that, but it looks like we're in the clear there, hopefully, that it's not a straight actress playing her role. And then of course we know Dan Levy, I hope I'm pronouncing his name right, he is also a gay actor, so really nice to have these queer actresses and actors playing their queer roles. So really, really happy to see that, and thankfully, I mean, it's 2020, this is what should be happening anyways, so thankfully they got it right this time. Oh, and also, not just on the screen, but off the screen, the director, Clea Duvall, I believe is her name. You might recognize her from But I'm a Cheerleader. She is also gay, and so there's queer representation both on and off screen, which is really, really important. Another thing that I and a lot of people are excited about in the comments of the trailer and things I've been seeing on social media is that it just looks super relatable. If you still haven't seen the trailer yet, this far into the video, just to explain to you, the plot line revolves around Kristen Stewart's character going home to her girlfriend's family for the holiday, but her girlfriend's family does not know that either of them are in a relationship, let alone either of them are queer. So, it's definitely not something that's comfortable, and obviously a lot of hilarity ensues. Queer people can relate to having to be in the closet, or having the experience of having a partner who's not out yet, or being the partner who wasn't out yet during the holidays. But yeah, so I know a lot of people are excited because it's a relatable storyline that a lot of people can connect to. And lastly, I kind of already touched on this in the last point, but it looks really funny. I know I was getting excited for the movie just when there was kind of the first stories coming out about it, that it was in the works and Kristen Stewart was going to be a lead and all this stuff. But once the trailer actually dropped this week, I was so pleasantly surprised with how it looked. Granted, sometimes these Christmas movies can look really good in the trailer, and then when you actually watch the movie, like all the funny parts are in the trailer and the movie itself is a disappointment. But I am keeping positive and keeping my fingers crossed that the trailer is going to be just as good as the movie itself, or vice versa, that the movie is going to be just as good as the trailer was, because the trailer definitely had me and my girlfriend laughing, and she wasn't even excited about the movie, so if it made her laugh, then that's saying something, I feel like. Now to the things that we're not so excited about. So obviously I'm being positive. I'm personally excited for the movie. I'm a personal fan of Kristen Stewart. I'm glad there's representation of queer people both on and off screen in their roles. It looks funny. It looks like it could actually be a good movie. So all those are great pluses. But there are a few things that did stand out to me during the trailer, and another that someone pointed out to me on social media. The first one is that the plot line, although it could be relatable to some, like I mentioned earlier, or at least bits and pieces of that experience can be related to someone's coming out journey, it's definitely not the first time this story has been done. And as soon as I watched the trailer, I was like, wow, this feels very much like a movie I have already seen. And it is. I mean, I haven't seen Happiest season yet, so I don't know exactly how it compares, but I do know I've seen a movie called Lez Bomb, which I believe is from 2018. I looked it up, and that is a movie about kind of the same scenario where two girlfriends are going home for Thanksgiving. So there's the big difference. Going home for Thanksgiving and the family doesn't know about their relationship, or one of them's not out yet. I don't know. Look it up, watch the movie, maybe you've seen the movie, but pretty much it feels very similar to that, just set at Christmas instead of Thanksgiving, and maybe the way it ends is different, because I think for Lez Bomb, something like weird happened at the end with like an ex-boyfriend or something like that. I watched it a while ago, so I don't really remember, but it did feel very reminiscent of that, so I hope it's not just a copy and paste of that movie at Christmas time with the different actors and actresses, but we will see. So that is has me a little worried and a little skeptical. The second thing is that it is very, very white. Now, I know I was talking about how it's great representation, that there are queer people playing their roles, but it is majority, if not all, white people. And that just is so... it shouldn't be happening in 2020, and yet it is. And so while the movie is great for queer representation, I wish it had more people of color, Black actors and actresses, something to make this movie less white. We already have so many white movies, and even so many queer white movies. Portrait of a Lady on Fire, Blue is the Warmest Color, like all of the big lesbian movies that come to mind at the moment while sitting here are majority, if not all, white. At least the leads are white. And it just shouldn't be happening in 2020, but of course it is. But it's just not reflective of the world we live in, and it's not reflective of what queer people want to see represented in film. And then along that point, in terms of diversity and representation, I saw someone brought up a good point on social media that it's also not super diverse in the representation of the queer identities, meaning that a lot of movies that are focused on lesbians are femme lesbians, and we don't have a lot of more masculine presenting lesbian identities, which is super important. Like, it's not just about having queer people represented on the screen, lesbians, gay people, but if it's only one type of gay person or one type of lesbian that we see in movies, it's not really doing much for diversity within those communities. So the movie definitely could have done better with that in casting the roles. Unfortunately, I feel like that probably has something to do with them appealing to a straight audience, perhaps. Not trying to make any accusations, but I just feel like maybe straight men, for instance, would be more interested in watching a lesbian Christmas rom-com that's focused on two pretty femininely presenting women, as opposed to a more feminine woman and a more masculine woman, or two masculine women. So yeah, that's a little bit disappointing and something that I don't think is often talked about in terms of representation, but that is definitely important. Anyway, all of that to say, I'm really excited for this movie. Obviously, my positive points for the movie outweigh the couple of negative points I brought up, but I thought they'd be good to mention, good discussions for moving forward on the importance of different types of representation in sexual orientation, in race, and in how people of those identities present themselves. So thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you're excited for Happiest season, leave me a comment below, and also leave me a comment if you watched that Lez Bomb movie, because I know I cannot be the only one, and let me know what you thought of that. Anyway, I would love it if you could subscribe. I make videos every single week, and I would love to have you back here next week for a new video about travel, lifestyle, or more. Thanks again for watching, and à la prochaine. See you next time.